Hello everyone, my name is EVOO and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. It is great to see you folks because today we are going to make a veal stew and I'm going to show you how easy and simple it is to make. But don't be fooled, it's absolutely delicious. Let's get started right now. Okay, so I'm going to use a Dutch oven today, but any pot will do. And we're going to start off with extra virgin olive oil. 3, 4, 5, 6 generous tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Let's fire up the stove. Okay, and to that, I have here 1 clove of garlic that I minced. You can see there. We're going to add that, and we're going to flavor that olive oil and cook this for about a minute. We have a nice little sizzle going here and we don't want to burn the garlic, so let's continue adding our more ingredients. So what I have here, I have 1 medium-sized carrot that I have sliced and diced. So we're going to add our carrot. I have 1 celery rib or 1 stick of celery that I've also sliced and diced. We're going to add that. Okay. And I also have, folks, 1 onion, 1 large onion that I've sliced thin and then roughly coarsely chopped. And we're going to add that. So this now becomes the base of our basic sofrito. And we're going to cook this down. Now, the one more item I need to add, of course, I forgot to buy. And that's mushrooms. No one to blame but myself. So at this point, we want to add about 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms, which is 227 grams. So because I don't have mushrooms, I do have a mushroom bruschetta. So what I will do, folks, is I will add the mushroom bruschetta in place of the mushrooms that I forgot to buy. So this, folks, will be just as good. There we go. That's enough for flavor. So no harm done, right? Okay. So now we're going to let this cook down. We're going to let those onions and celery and carrot, we're going to soften those up a bit. So this is going to take, 5-10 minutes. That's coming along nicely. Give it a stir every so often. There we go. All right. So while that's cooking, what we could do, folks, is prepare our beautiful veal. So I have the veal here. This veal is for stewing, and I bought it this way already cubed, but you can buy your own veal and cube it yourself. It's not a problem. Whatever you prefer. So there's our beautiful veal. I just pat dried it a bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some cornstarch. So let's just sprinkle some cornstarch. You need enough cornstarch to cover all the veal. So let's give that a mix and see if that's enough cornstarch or not. Okay, it looks like it's going to be enough, but keep tossing them until they're all completely covered with, a nice little coating of the cornstarch. That's actually pretty good right there, folks. Some brown spots left, but not much. Okay, that's great right there. So we're going to let those, we're going to just set this aside. I'm going to wash my hands quickly, and we're going to prepare our potatoes while that's cooking as well. Alrighty, so the veal was about 2.5 pounds. So you could, for this recipe, anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds of veal, and you do about half of the amount of potatoes. So in this case, I've got about 1.5 pounds of potatoes, and I decided to go with the small baby potatoes, and I just cut them in half. But you can, take probably 2 large potatoes and just cube them. And what I like to do is be generous with some extra virgin olive oil. And then some paprika. Be generous with the paprika because we're going to mix this all around. So I'm going to say that's probably 2 tablespoons of paprika. There we go, it is now. Okay, salt to taste. Okay, and I like to add a little bit of oregano. This is optional, but I like to add a little bit of oregano to my peppers, or to my potatoes as well. And then quite simply, just mix all those together. Get that olive oil, get all those ingredients combined, get the paprika spread amongst. Oh yeah, there we go, folks. I just so happen to have these baby potatoes. Otherwise, I would have used regular potato. When I say regular potato, I prefer to use like a yellow flesh potato, like a baby gold, for example, or a Yukon Gold, I should say. Or I like to use the red potatoes as well, or just your basic white. That's fine too. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? There we go. So these now can be set aside, our potatoes, and we got another 5 minutes there to wait. So our onions have softened up rather nicely. Most of the olive oil, you think I put a lot of olive oil in there? Most of it's been absorbed. Okay, so at this point, this is optional, but I am going to add some tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Oh, we got to open it first. Brand new pack. There we go. Okay. There's 1, there's 2. Okay, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Again, that's optional, but I do like to add it for a little bit of flavor and a touch of color. So I'm just going to mix that in. Okay, there we go. Now, with tomato paste in there, our onions are softened up. We have our beautiful veal here. Let's add our veal. And what we want to do here, folks, is we just want to cover the veal with those beautiful ingredients we put in and lightly brown them. So just mix it all up, get those ingredients, get the veal coated with those beautiful ingredients. Okay, get that in there. A little piece of onion. Okay, all right, so let's brown this up just a bit. There we go. With our veal now slightly browned, we're going to want to deglaze. You see that there? We're going to want to deglaze here a bit. So if you have white wine, use 1 cup of white wine, a dry white wine. I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of vermouth. Okay, so either a 1/2 cup of vermouth or 1 cup of dry white wine. Add that. Mix it all around and deglaze what you can. Okay, I got some of it off and deglazed because that's extra flavor. And you want to cook that down a bit. Let your wine cook down, or in my case, the vermouth. So now at this point, we can add our potatoes. And again, we already seasoned our potatoes. So we're just going to add our potatoes. And I see lots of olive oil and paprika in this pan, which I'm not going to waste. We're going to add that. Drizzle that over top of the potatoes. Okay. There we go. Ready? And now you want to mix these together. Oh yeah, this is going to be so good, folks. Mix the potatoes in with the veal. Alrighty. That is now done. Okay, now quite simply, I have some beef broth here, and you're going to want to add, probably 2 cups of beef broth. You might want to have 3 cups on hand, because if your stew becomes too thick, if you lose all your fluids, then you're going to want to add some more. So start off by adding about 2 cups of beef broth. Mix that in. Oh yeah, that's looking good there. I think that's pretty good right there, folks. Okay, everything seems to be covered. Maybe just a tad bit more beef broth. All right, and now we're gonna let this cook on a medium to medium-low heat for at least an hour. That's just gonna simmer away. We're gonna be patient, let it do its thing. I will stir it once in a while, check the liquids, make sure there's enough broth in there. But basically you want it to cook for at least an hour. Oh, and I almost forgot. One optional bay leaf. Okay, I like to add one, but again, that's optional. Okay, now it can rest. So folks, I did not need to add any more liquid. As you can see, there's still what I would say a nice amount of broth in there. I cooked it with the lid on for 45 minutes, and then I kind of slightly took the lid off kind of halfway like this for the last 15-20 minutes. Okay, you know what I'm anxious to do now, folks? I would like to try a little bit of that. Let's take a nice piece of veal, some potato. Oh, look at that. Oh boy, folks, the taste test. Always, always, always my favorite part. Well, maybe not quite. I love cooking too. Okay, but I do love the taste test. Just a little bit of veal there with some potato, just a bit for tasting. And you notice I didn't add any salt because a lot of times the broth is salty, so you have to be careful. But what I'm gonna do, I'll taste it right now. A little bit of that broth is gravy. And the veal, I need to add a little bit of salt, but the veal is tender and tasty. How about the potatoes? Beautiful. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt on the veal and call it a day. We're gonna get this on the table and get it served. I'll give Laura a call. We're gonna have ourselves a fantastic dinner. I made a nice fresh loaf of bread. Even without the salt, delicious. And you saw how easy that was to come together. Get it started, walk away for an hour. Okay, occasionally stir. Other than that, it cooks on its own, gets nice and tender, absorbs all those beautiful flavors. It's a winner. I hope you give it a try. Folks, as usual, I want to thank you for spending time in the kitchen with me today. Hope you give this recipe a try. And until next time, buon appetito. Delicious.